was a struggle to see, it was a struggle to get police officials to firstly recognize the Domestic Violence Act, you know, and work accordingly to the Domestic Violence Act. The same happened with the courts. Magistrates, they were used to giving so much attention to the Criminal Procedure Act that they neglected these other small acts like the Domestic Violence Act, the Children's Act. And I think it fell upon us working in this field to make them see that no act is more more important than the other act, because it boils down to the Constitution and the rights of people. So that was the fight that we had to fight, you know, to get people to recognize these acts and do exactly what is supposed to be in this act. The same with even other stakeholders, you know, that had a role to play, making the community recognize that there is help outside. There is acts in place. It's just that people are not implementing them correctly.
In 1998, South Africa passed the Domestic Violence Act, a product of Section 12C of the Constitution that states, everyone has the right to freedom and security of person. That includes the right to be free from violence. 20 years later, in 2018, while progressive on paper, implementation of the Act is problematic, with structural and cultural issues and perceptions often restricting or denying women access to their rights.
There was a case recently where a woman spent her birthday trying to get a protection order the day before her birthday, and she was killed on her birthday. Horrific, and that is part of the problem. Actually, we've got good laws, but they're not implemented, and the police don't actually come to the party because they don't arrest the perpetrators. We had one who found the house and was harassing us and making a noise. Police came and they said they couldn't take him away, but there was a warrant of arrest. So the police aren't properly educated as well about what needs to be done. And then we had a case in the office where a woman, her partner sent her a message to say that he'd got a protection order against her, and she said, no, she got the protection order. She sent him a message to say, oh, I got the protection order. He sent the police to arrest her for that, and the police actually responded to that. So that was just completely ludicrous when women are being murdered, beaten, and to get the police to actually respond. It's unbelievable.
I think, you know, if we look at not just SAPS, but all our structures, we speak of structural patriarchy. So we speak of instances where there's no understanding of women's issues, there's no understanding of what affects women and how certain things affect women. So when we talk about our structures now, we're talking about our government. If we go straight to the top, how many women are in the executive, how many women are in the legislature, and that's our representatives of of who we elected to be in charge. And then so when they take decisions, are they taking women's issues into account?
Women's abuse shelters provide a safe physical and emotional reprieve for survivors of abuse, and often fill the gaps between state departments to increase access and speed up service delivery for abused women.
At one point when I got here, people did not access the shelter because they did not want to go to the police in the first place, you know, to lay a charge or to ask for assistance, because they were always turned away. So that was one of the things that we had to do. I had to go physically to the police station and speak to the police, the station commander, and tell them that we won't tolerate people not being assisted at the police station. At the Department of Justice, we won't tolerate people having to wait a month for a protection order after having applied for a protection order. Those kind of challenges we have experienced. We started conversations with the station commanders. Conversations such as what is working and what is not working. And there were a lot of challenges because we also realized, and we had to acknowledge the fact that the police SAPs have their own challenges. Like there's not always a police vehicle able, on hand to bring a victim to a shelter. Not all the police officials, especially in the charge office, are properly trained when it gets to matters of domestic violence. So we had to start that conversation.
What do you think can be done to address gender-based violence in South Africa?
I think a lot can be done, and it starts with the children, because the most thing that I've learned being here is we're dealing with these women, they're being abused, and the children suffer more, and they go back. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them, and you can actually see the signs in the children. When the children are abused, children swear and they fight and those things. I think a lot can be done at schools, because most of us don't even know what abuse is. We always thought that abuse is like eating someone. We never knew that there was sexual abuse, there was like emotional abuse, like financial abuse, all those sort of things. Because abuse doesn't mean just to be eaten, you have a blue eye, and then it means you are abused.
Recently I read a report, a research that was done by the Institute of Security Studies, and they looked at men who were incarcerated for 15 years and more from various racial backgrounds, where they perpetrated extensive trauma and violence, and all of them grew up in abusive environment. And so that just gives you an idea that if we don't stop this cycle, it perpetuates into the next generation.